Hey, what's going on, guys? So I wanted to do a follow-up video on Shakur Stevenson. Like last week when he won the fight against Artem, I did a recap of the fight, and that was that. I talked a little bit about him moving forward in his career, and whether or not he was going to stay with Top Rank or move on to a Matchroom or a Golden Boy or whoever. I have no idea. PBC. So we discussed a little bit of that last week. A lot has happened since then because a lot of things has been said on social media from him. He's been literally battling everyone on social media for the past week. All right, former boxers, rappers, promoters, all kind of shit. Right. So Shakur Stevenson, a fighter that I've always supported. He's actually one of my favorite fighters of today to watch. I know he's boring to many, but I do still support him as a fighter. As a fighter, I think he's top tier talent wise. He's one of the hardest fighters to hit. And I do appreciate what I see from him. Okay. I do feel like I wish he opened up a little bit more and let his hands go a little bit more. But I still like what I've seen. Like I used to think that Adrian Broner should let his hands go more too, right? But I didn't think that Broner was a defensive fighter. I just didn't think that. I thought that he was trying to be too slick. And I thought like Broner at his best, like in his fights, is when he was fighting flat-footed, walking his opponents down and being a bully. I think when he was trying to be, the mover and trying to pot shot and stuff, that's when I didn't like. Shakur, on the other hand, I just think that Shakur is a true defensive fighter. And before he throws 4 or 5 punch combinations, he rather just stick to 1 and 2. And I just think that that's part of the problem. Even in this fight against Artem Haratunian, I think he was definitely a lot more aggressive than he was. Let me just be real. I think he was the same fighter he was against Yoshino last year. I think the only difference is that Artem was a lot more durable and that he just couldn't stop him. I think Shakur was trying to stop him at the best of his ability, but I just think that he fought someone that was tougher. I also compared him to Frank Martin when Frank fought Haratunian. The reason why Frank dropped Haratunian is that Frank is just more, I think he's more likely, especially because he was arguably losing a fight, that he's more likely to leash like an offensive wrath over Shakur. Even if Shakur is being aggressive, is being his version of being aggressive, whereas Frank has been known to drop and stop fighters. He was going on a run of dropping and stopping fighters before fighting Arthur. You know what I mean? So I expected it from Frank. I don't really expect it from Shakur. And even if he's trying, he's always going to be defensive first. He cares more about what's getting thrown back at him than just being a bully, you know what I mean? And trying to stop fighters. He's always going to be cautious. And at the age that he's in, he's not that young. I think that he's gonna kind of always be like that. I've learned to accept him. Because at the end of the day, it's about winning. I don't think he's there to please the crowd as much as Jaron Ennis did this past weekend, as much as Keyshawn did last weekend. I think there are certain fighters that are more eager to get the stoppage and they're willing to take the hits. And that's the difference between Shakur. Crawford has good defense. Keyshawn has good defense. There's a lot of other fighters that have good defense that are just willing to take it a step further to get the stoppage. Those are gear changers. How badly, it's not about winning to them. It's more about either putting on a show or getting the stoppage. Tank has good defense. He picks and chooses what opponents he wants to display that kind of defense. It depends on how dangerous he believes his opponent is. And against Ryan Garcia, he clearly respects him, even Rolly Romero. You know, Rolly's trash to me, but Rolly is a dangerous puncher. And Tank was aware of that. So he fought a defensive fight. You know what I mean? Whereas when he fought Frank, it was different. So Shakur, and all the criticism, and let's talk more about him and all the people he's been battling on social media the last few days. Shakur Stevenson, biggest problem in my opinion is that he just can't seem to stay on social media. I know Ryan's always over there. I know Devin is on there. I know, everybody else is on. I mean, that's just the way things are now. But Shakur is a little different. I think he takes every little bit of criticism to the heart. He's just been battling guys like Marcus Brown, Andre Berto. It's just to me, I can't remember. Cam and Mace, he responded to them. Ishe Smith. It's like, bro, and I wanted to pick a fighter that I am going to do a video on next. Jesse Bam Rodriguez. And I wanted to pick him and point him out and compare him specifically because he's a different race. He's in a different division. He has nothing in common with Shakur Stevenson. But he has a different fan base for the most part. And the reason why I wanted to pick out Jesse Bam Rodriguez, because with all of the success that he's had, especially in his last two fights, right? When you look at Israel Gonzalez, when you look at the Christian Gonzalez fights, right? Those two fights back to back. Start well with Israel Gonzalez. Now, at this point, Bam had just came off two of his biggest wins, beating two of the four Canes. All right, he beat Carlos Claudius and he beat Soran Mitsai, right? So he beats those two. So everybody's already rating him like, oh, he's crazy. Oh, he's one of the best fighters in the world. They already put him up there in pound for pound list. And this was a couple years ago. But when he had those fights, especially the first one against Israel Gonzalez, where he didn't look all that great. He was getting hit a lot. What were people saying? Do you guys remember what people were saying? People were being critical. They were being critical because he didn't stop him. They were being critical because he was getting hit a lot. They were being critical because it was a close fight. It was a competitive fight, more competitive than what we thought it was going to be. So people that even support him are like, I don't know. And then he had the Christian Gonzalez fight where he was fighting a guy that moved really well, that was a switch hitter. He had a hard time tracking him down. So these are two guys that's now on a level of a Sonny Edwards or what's his name? Who else? Strado or Soran Visai or none of these guys. But it's the point I'm trying to make that is boxing fans and journalists as well, they're going to be critical of your performances that are just not as good. The difference with Bam is that Bam didn't say shit. You didn't hear anything about it. So those couple of days where people were talking about Bam after the Israel Gonzalez fight, where people didn't look at him as they did after he came off the Rungvisai fight, he didn't respond to them. He probably said something on the lines of, I kind of feel like I could have did a little better here. That's it. You don't hear nothing else. But when you are Shakur and you decide, like, I'm going to take to social media and battle every fan, every boxer, every media person, and every content creator, I'm going to battle you all on social media and talk down on you and respond to fans. He's responding to random fans that don't even have a platform. He's battling anybody that says anything about him. And you keep it going for days at a time. because you disagree with how they felt. Listen, if people don't like the fight, they don't like it. It is what it is. It is what it is. Do what you got to do. You're making millions. You're making millions. I don't know how much you made for that fight, but I'm sure you got paid. Keep doing what you're doing. Get better. Keep getting better. Either get better at your style or change your style up some. But whatever it is you do, keep working on your craft. Don't worry about the outside noise. They're always going to be there. We're in a time where social media is in your face. Stop reading every single tweet directed at you. You know what I mean? Just stop. The criticism is going to come. Even Boots got it when he fought Karen, right? Boots, who just fought last weekend, everybody's praising him now. But when he fought that guy, Karen, that he couldn't track down because he was moving too much and it went the distance and people thought that was boring. Yo, it is what it is. He took the criticism. Everybody was talking about him that week. People were saying that, oh, he's overrated and stuff. No, that is part of the game, man. It's part of the game. So I just wish that, and Shakur got a great support system. He has Floyd. He has Crawford. He has Ward. His manager is Jay Prince. Like, I don't know what they're saying to him. Maybe they are telling him what I'm saying here behind closed door. Maybe Shakur is one of those people. Maybe Shakur is finally embracing the bad guy role. He's probably tired of people posting up his video of him crying at the Olympics when he lost. Maybe he's getting to a point where he's seeing Devin and Ryan and them getting all of this, attention. Maybe you realize, you know what? Maybe I need to be on here. Maybe I need to take the bad guy role. So maybe he's realized that, hey, I want to be bigger. I want my name to be bigger. Maybe I'm going to take this role and being hated and take advantage of it. Maybe that's what's happening right now. But if he legit is tired of the criticism, well, you know what? Be grateful for what you've accomplished, man. You are a 3-division champion. You have options, man. You're undefeated still. I think you should be grateful for everything that happened. You have a huge support system. You make a lot of money. I've heard interviews talking about you taking care of your other siblings and stuff like that. You should be doing all that right now. You're one of the biggest fighters coming out of Newark or New Jersey. Be proud, man. I don't get what this. I do get it, but take a break off social media. Put the phone down. As far as him moving forward, it looks like it's possibly, I know he's talking to Floyd. I know he's talking to Eddie. I think when you get with Eddie, the connection to Turki Al-Sheikh is a good thing. You have to look at it like that. Because, like, even Boots winning this past weekend, you're already having Turki Al-Sheikh tweeting that he wants to see Boots fight. But, Turki seems to be listening to what the fan bases are saying. He seemed to be very in tune with what's going on. So I think having that connection with the zone with Eddie's going to put you in there. He's going to make sure you get paid. He's going to make sure you stay active. But he's going to put you in there tough. As far as it's going to be tough getting in there with Loma and Berencic or even Tank Davis if you go with Eddie. But at the end of the day, I think he should weigh out all his options. What does he want to do? I think if he stays with Top Rank, there's no guarantee he's going to get the Loma fight because Loma is probably going to fight Tank Davis anyway. So you got to go with your best options. And you got to go where the money is at the same time, and those fights could still happen down the line. This just might not happen next. And I'm sure there's still so many other contenders at the division. I brought that up. Um, Raymond Murataya fought this weekend. Let me go to the division real quick because I brought up some of these names when I made a fight review recap of him. So obviously you got the four champs: Tank, Barenchek, and Lomachenko. But outside those guys, you got William Cepeda. Now, this is the thing. William Cepeda is a funny situation because I believe Cepeda wants to fight. But it seems like Oscar is doing some funny business. Because Oscar, last year, after Shakur beat Yoshino, or either before or after the Yoshino fight, when Shakur was going and calling out all of these fighters at 135 and included William Cepeda. Cepeda was there. Frank Martin was a potential opponent. It seemed like all the top guys Shakur was willing to fight. And it seemed like, Oscar said that he would not be putting William Cepeda up there to fight Shakur. But as soon as Shakur looked bad against De Los Santos, he was all about making the fight. And now he's back to saying that he's not going to be allowing Cepeda to fight Shakur Stevenson if he's not signed with Golden Boy. Just goes to show, what kind of guy Oscar is. All right, he's only good with making the best fights for his fighters under his umbrella. Again, that is a duck. Again, that is a duck. All right, maybe Cepeda is not ducking him, but Oscar is forcing him to duck him. And that would be a great opportunity for both Shakur and Cepeda, because Cepeda has a style that's going to bring the fight out of Shakur. And Shakur will have the opportunity to prove that he can beat, a top tier 135 pounder that is dangerous. That's sort of like a boogeyman in the division. And it would be a great fight. But if Shakur does sign with Matchroom, maybe they can make something happen, even without him being signed with Golden Boy. All right, but like I said, you have Murataya, who didn't look so good in his fight against Tevin Farmer this weekend. You still got Navarrete out there. I think if Oscar Duarte can make the weight, make that fight, I can see Oscar making Duarte fight Cepeda, since they're both Golden Boy. And Frank Martin's still out there. You know what I mean? So, I doubt he would fight Keyshawn anytime soon, but there are a lot of options out there. All right. So, that's my thoughts on Shakur. Good fighter. Maybe he's adopting the bad guy role, But if he is doing anything, hey, keep doing what you're doing. Argue with people every day on Twitter, But, people are still not going to care unless they see it in the ring. No matter how much you become hated, people still want to see you perform in the ring. And even though people would criticize Floyd for not getting knockouts and said that he was boring, people still paid to see him sing because they knew what he could do and they knew what he did. They remember the old Floyd, and they remember a time where he was knocking people out, getting the stoppages. They remember those moments. Shakur, there's no real moment that people remember, and I think he needs to have a moment. And he hasn't had that yet, He's had some good performances, but outside of that, he's had some tough ones too. Where it was kind of like no one cared. So even if you argue and try to adopt this bad guy role, people are going to still want to see a good performance. They want you to be in a little danger. And I think that's based on the opponent too. I think De Los Santos was that guy, but he didn't engage, and neither did De Los Santos, and it ended up being one of the worst fights I've seen in recent years. The only fight that I could see being a worse fight with that in the last 10 years was probably Robert Easter against Ramses Barthélemy. That was the worst fight I've ever seen in my life. In my life. That went 12 rounds. All right, so anyway, that is my thoughts on Shakur. Be on the lookout for more content. I got to speak on Bam Rodriguez next. And give me a subscribe, hit the subscribe, smash the like button, share the video, and I'll see you guys next. Peace.